Everyone. Today we will talk about scrolling Twitter, social network, and text mining with the visualization. In the previous week, I talked about our project with the New York Times site, but we did not talk about crawling technique for collecting the big data in the social network, right? There are many kinds of social networks, such as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, as well as the related other sites, right? But as you can experience with our project, it is very tedious and difficult to collect the big data with the text file or the statistics information, right? So there are many kinds of technique for collecting data efficiently. One of them is crawling. As you can see on the screen, for crawling, we should use the related packages for proper sites. For example, if you want to crawl Twitter, you should install Twitter capital R, and you should install um, the uh, the communications related with the packages such as HTTR, as well as core, RJava, and we should install the word cloud and KONLP for visualization with the text mining. All right. So we will talk about the specific method for crawling with the Twitter example. There are many kinds of social network in the world, but most social network needs to the security concept with the token. So, for example, if you want to crawl Twitter data, you should authenticate yourself to Twitter. For example, I'm a legal user and I'm a researcher or student for crawling the Twitter data. So I want to crawl the Twitter big data for the object. For that, we first get the security token and key values in Twitter data. In my case, I already got for the security related keys such as consumer key, the consumer secret, access token, as well as access secret. I already made the specific procedure of the 4 keys in Twitter with Word file like that. So I will talk about it later. So after this procedure, you can also get your the 4 keys and tokens for authentication of the Twitter like that. All right. Okay. So with this key, we can the request the setup Twitter authentication function with this 1, 2, 3, 4 the public keys. All right. And if you want to put the Twitter keyword for crawling with this keyword, you can crawl the wanted data with the search Twitter function. All right. So if you want to crawl the data related with the corona keyword, you assign the corona string in the variable keyword, and if you deliver the keyword variable in the first argument with the search Twitter function with the number of 500 lines, you can get the big data in data variable. And if you want to change the data to the data frame format, we can use tweet raised to df function. Alright? So most Twitter related functions belongs to the Twitter R package. So first you should install the Twitter R package as others for efficient crawling. Alright? So did you remember how did you check the successful installation of each package? Yeah, right. When you check the right side of the R Studio, there are the R package menu, right? So if you want to check the successful packages, you can check the below the part with the scroll bar, right? So there is the core HTTPR, the KONLP, the Korean Natural Language Processing Package, as well as the R color viewer for visualization of the word cloud, and R Java. So R Java package is related with low-level R to Java interface, and the word cloud as well as Twitter R. So R-based Twitter client, all right? So if you want to get more information per each package, you can click each package and you can read all by yourself, all right? Okay, so as I mentioned before, when you check the each functions method for Twitter R, you can find the each function in a proper package, all right? Or as I mentioned before, you can type two questions and you can put the function's name for getting more information. For example, set up Twitter auth. So this function left the authentication handshake functions from the HTTL package for Twitter R session. All right. So our laptop is client, right? But if you want to connect the Twitter server, we should consider the internet concept, right? Such as the HTTP, right? So without internet, we cannot crawl the social network site, right? So we need to know about the session, HTTPR, as well as the Twitter R package for successful the internet connection, all right? Okay, and then if you want to check the data type of the data with the data.df, we already exercised many times for getting specific information of the object with the class, mode, summary, str, and so on function, right? So you can check it. For example, if you want to use the summary function with this data type, so data.df has many kinds of the data types, such as the text and the statistical information, the integer information, all right, and the many features, right? So it is up to you for using the proper features for your problem. In my case, I only crawled the Twitter data with the Twitter R package, and I store the result of the crawling with the main keyword, and I save the result in a text file, all right? So we can learn together until this line, all right? Okay, I already installed the proper packages, and we can run or execute each line with run menu or Control N. And as you can see on the console, there is no the error. So each line was successful for execution, all right? And after this line, I change it from the data to the data frame, and I use the write function for saving the text part only in this the text file. So how can you find this text file? All right, you can use the getWD function. All right, and then you can go to your working directory, and then you can find the corona.txt file. So if you click this one, there are only text data with the corona. All right, so it is a little similar with the Obama and Trump the example, right? My point is there are many kinds of data types, such as the integer, character, string, and so on, right? But this project, as your team project, can be related with the text mining, right? So you don't need to consider the statistical information such as the integer data type, but it is up to you. But I recommend the txt data file with the text mining can be mandatory for analyzing your team project. All right, okay, and then we can read with the read line functions for each line. All right, so you can check this variable with the typing. Right, so there are many kinds of text files here, around at least 1,000 lines, right? Okay, and then we can remove not applicable data from this data, right? So we check the data in Twitter post variable, right? And if you consider the same variable, but we want to remove the not applicable data with this grammar, right? How can you do that? As I mentioned in the previous example, that result returned the only not applicable data, right? But with the exclamation, the opposite case, such as not NA values. So that means we can remove the NA data from the original data, right? So remove NA data is written with this grammar in our studio, right? So we want to put, right? We want to put only not NA data. So we can remove the NA data in the original data set. And then we can update the only meaningful data in Twitter post variable, right? And then we can apply the extract noun function to this data. So we can extract the data for the nouns unit, right? So this comment explains about this the comment, right? So we can extract only nouns from data, all right? So after this comment, we can wait the result of this comment. It took a little more time than other comments because there are many kinds of text lines, right? So the R Studio is busy for executing of this comment, such as the data analysis, right? So we can wait, and then we can check the Twitter words Yeah. So we can check the text lines was extracts with the noun unit, right? So as you can see on the screen, there are many kinds of nouns in the data lines, all right? Okay, and we can also remove dots, numbers, space, as well as other unnecessary words from data, right? So we can execute these lines for that. That can be representative data analysis for a big data set, all right? Okay, so we can do the first comment, second one, and third one. And you can check the interest, right? So there are only the meaningful words without dots, numbers, spaces, as well as the other unnecessary stop words, all right? And then we can sort only words longer than 3 words, all right? And then we can check it again. All right, so as you can see, the console roughly, we can recognize there are only the words longer than 3 words, right? So with the hierarchical text data analysis, we can remove the step-by-step for stop words as well as unnecessary words, all right? And then we can convert the classified data into the table grouped by frequency with this one, all right? And then we can get the result with the top 30 words according to the frequency. So we only filter the 30 the words with the decreasing sort, all right? So if you crowd the Twitter data sets with the main keyword corona, the most related the text with the corona is the corona with 157 frequency, right? The next one is the small, the lowercase c, and the third one is tomar, and the first one is the all capital words of corona, and virus, and maybe real, India, singers, vaccine, bankers, and so on. So based on these results, I can imagine the corona, the news in Twitter recently was related with the vaccine, the India information, or bankers, and so on. I think if you crowd the Twitter data in today night or tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, maybe the result can be buried because the Twitter feed or news will be updated every day, right? So according to the time, we can trace the related keyword with the corona in Twitter too, all right? So after that, we can visualize words with the minimum frequency of 5 or more in a word crowd, all right? Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, if you crowd the Twitter data set with the main keyword corona, there are many kinds of words, related words at the word crowd visualization. So if you want to know the meaning of e or and so on, you can try to find the more information in Google or other the papers and so on. It is up to you. So if you can't visualize the main keyword with word cloud in our studio, it's very efficient and top the fancy technique in our studio. So different from other languages, R with the R studio can visualize the data with the fancy way, right? So it is very efficient for visualization. For usage of the word cloud, you can use the word cloud function belongs to word cloud packages. So you should install the word cloud package and you should call the word cloud function for use it, right? So as we talked about it with this source code, the sorted the data set was stored in word underbar count variable, right? So we want to visualize with word cloud with this variable, right? And with the policy of the frequency, and we want to rotate about this degree, and we want to select the word larger than the number of the minimum frequency is 5. So you can change the rotation value as well as the minimum frequency with your proper integer. And we don't want to use the random order, so we put the f function first, and we want to use the random color with the true. So for use that, we also consider colors the argument with the palette. So before usage of the word cloud function, you should use the palette variable for the last argument of the word cloud function. All right. So that means we want to use the colors information in word clouds, as you can see on the right side. All right. So we want to select the pure.par information. We want to use the 8 colors in palette set 2. So there are many kinds of sets for pure.par function, and we can also select the number of the colors based on your interest. All right. So if you want to check the usage of the word cloud, you can type 2 times of question and you can find the grammar of the word cloud. So as you can see on the right side, there are word cloud function in word cloud package, right? So with this function, we can plot a word cloud, right? So there are many kinds of the argument for word cloud, and you can use the proper argument based on your interest. All right. Okay, so it is up to you. So as you can see on the screen, there are many kinds of packages as well as functions with the argument, right? So we cannot check the specific or the functions with the packages because of the limited time and the real-time update of the new packages. All right. So according to your problem and your interest, I recommend you should find the proper packages with the functions opportunistically and flexibly. That is the one of technique as a programmer. All right. Okay, so today we will talk about the crawling technique with the Twitter. So similar to the Twitter, if you want to crawl the Facebook as well as YouTube, you should authenticate yourself to the proper the social network site. That is very natural for security concept. All right. So first, you can execute my R codes. The R code name crawling underbar Twitter.capital.R. So you can download this file in iCampus, and then you can execute my code with my secret keys. All right, and then in the next video I will talk about how can you get your own 4 keys in the Twitter site. After that, you can update the keys information with yours, and then you can also execute my R code. It is up to you. And for your ability and capability, of course, you can type my code all by yourself and then execute, and you can debug the proper data for each variable all by yourself in RStudio. All right. Okay. Thank you for listening. See you next video. Bye bye.